Hi, friends. Welcome to episode 21 of Connections Restored TV, an affiliate of the Bill and Callie Show Network. I'm so excited to share with you guys today when everything feels like it's falling apart on you, to focus on your health. And I'll even explain to you how I came to this topic, because with what's going on in the world today for many of us, there's all sorts of new rules and regulations and ways to deal with life, right? Because we have to wear masks out in the public to make sure that we are keeping one another safe from illness. And I know that there's a lot of different opinions and schools of thought on this. And I know that each and every person has their own belief system around why that works well for them. And I'm not here to refute that. But what I would like to do is take that a step further and deeper and connect to the power within and share why, when it feels like everything's falling apart on us, we should be focusing on our health. And for those of you who are new to my audience, my name is Amy Boswinkle. I am an intuitive and a women's energetic mindset, marketing, and strategy business coach. I still, on occasion, do go out into the world and help people who are suffering from trauma, PTSD, and addictions, which is where I originally near the beginning of my journey, as well as helping people with their health and various capacities of health on this journey as a coach. So without further ado, I would love to share with you how I arrived at this space of recognizing that when there's a lot of stressors in our life, why focusing on our health is so important. And I have to take you back in my timeline, as I do periodically, as I was studying the human body at the health food store that I worked at. And so for those of you who are new to the audience, I once suffered from alcoholism, drug addiction, and binge eating disorder. And when conventional medicine and approaches didn't work for me, I studied the human body nonstop until I was able to understand how the body worked, and I learned to heal myself. So throughout those studies, I started to understand various aspects of how the circulatory system worked and how the lymphatic system worked and how the liver processed toxins and, how the adrenal glands emitted cortisol and adrenaline into the body and, what chemicals the brain could produce and all of these things. And I started to get this really clear picture of how stress really bogged a person's system down. And really, it wasn't just stress, but it was the emotions connected to the feelings that we felt around the experiences that we were walking through, right? So as we're experiencing various things going on in our life that are stressful, maybe we aren't working as much as we want to, maybe we're not bringing enough income into our home, maybe we're not there to produce the right relationships in our family, to cultivate those relationships with our kids because we're out working all the time, or maybe we are experiencing issues with family members because they're walking through something really painful and we really don't know how to navigate that space. And these are all spaces I know oh so well, because not only was I suffering from alcoholism, drug addiction, and binge eating disorder in my life, but I also had my mom, who was a prescription opiate addict, and dealing with her own ailments and watching how she was treating her body and the choices that she was making. And it was very painful. It was very painful to watch some of the choices that she was making in her life. And God rest her soul, she passed away August 15 of 2008. So 12 years ago, she accidentally overdosed and passed on to the next world. And I learned a lot about dealing with stress, because if there was one thing that I knew in my life personally, and that was trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma after trauma. And I lived in the survival mode mentality for such a long time in my life. And because of that, I was emitting tons and tons and tons of cortisol and adrenaline into my body because my adrenal glands were working overload, so that my body literally wasn't having a heart attack, so that I could continue to go out into life and live. live my life. But what I didn't know how to do was I didn't know how to focus on myself and focus on my health. And once I really understood this, once I really understood how the human body worked and how the endocrine system worked, and our endocrine system and our neurological system, the endocrine system is what deals with the hormones in our body, and our hormones go out of balance whenever we are being overly emotional, whenever we are being emotionally, what I call emotionally immature. And that might sound like really harsh languaging, but I've learned that emotional intelligence is being able to navigate our emotions from an intelligent space and being like, okay, I have become completely and totally aware that this experience that I am walking through does not feel pleasant in any way, shape, or form. But I'm going to do these personal things to make sure that I take care of myself first, so that I don't go out into the world and react and blame and point fingers and say, oh my goodness, look at all these things going wrong, but actually come from a space of reflection. Because when we're able to take that step back and gain that space of reflection, and tap into that space, we're able to come from a reflectionary space whenever we're expressing what we need to express to another person or even to ourselves. And that is the space of wisdom, right? When we can actually take that step back and gain awareness and clarity around where our thoughts, our feelings, and our behavior are taking us, then we are actually very emotionally intelligent. Because when we go to have a conversation with another person or dictate wisdom even to ourselves, it's coming from a space of reflection rather than reaction. Because when we're just reacting to one another, we're not actually listening to what's truly going on. So what I had to learn to do is to take that step back from that reactionary space and create a space that allowed me to connect to myself. So the things that I learned along my journey that worked for me personally was to take some deep cleansing breaths, right? To do what I call 557 breathing. I learned 557 breathing in my health coaching school, Health Coach Institute. There are many different breathing techniques out there, friends. Many of you might know of a 487, and there are various ones. I know Dr. Oz has talked about one on his show, and there are other people who have their own version, and you can go and Google search. I just use 557 because it's easy for me to remember that one personally. But what that is, it's a 5-second inhale. You just count for 5 as you inhale, and then you hold that breath for 5 seconds, and then you exhale for 7 seconds. Now, this is what it's doing in your body. So when you're in that stressful space, as you're inhaling for those first 5 seconds, what you're doing is you're getting fresh oxygen into your body. Because when people are stressed out, they go to shallow breathing. And when we're shallow breathing, we're not getting enough oxygen in our body. And what we're allowing to stay in our body is more carbon dioxide than oxygen. And human beings aren't plants. Plants love carbon dioxide, right? They thrive on carbon dioxide, but human beings actually require oxygen. So that's the beautiful exchange between humans and plants, is that plants love carbon dioxide and produce oxygen, and so then humans have the oxygen and can give the plants the carbon dioxide. That's the beautiful symbiotic relationship between human beings and nature. Isn't that so amazing, friends? The things that we learn along our journey that help us to flourish and grow. But to go back to what I was talking about, I'm really good at going off on tangents, and I know that, is when we're breathing in that 5 seconds, right? We're breathing in fresh oxygen. As we're getting more oxygen into our body, we're getting more oxygen into our blood cells. As we're getting more oxygen into our blood cells, our body starts to thrive again. And also, not only are we getting more oxygen into our blood cells, but we're getting more oxygen into our brain. As we hold that 5 seconds at the top, we're allowing a space of reflection. We're literally creating 5 seconds of pause. Let's just pause for a moment. And it's in that pause, right, that more oxygen can be absorbed by the body, but we're also calming the mind down so we're not over addictively thinking about all of the things that are going wrong. Then as we're exhaling for that 7 seconds, what I imagine in my mind, and what it's doing is it's calming down the adrenal gland response, but I imagine it just kind of calming down the central nervous system. So the central nervous system is part of the spine. It is, the signals that are emitted in the spine and create the signals that go to the brain. And the brain literally has to think really fast or create chemicals or create hormones that allow us to fight or flight in our body, because our brain is so prehistoric. That's all it's ever doing for us. We're literally always in fight or flight mode. But we have the power, right? We can take back our power and calm down that central nervous system response by just connecting to this breath. And it's absolutely so amazing, right? So we're 7 seconds exhale. I imagine it going down the spine, calming down, going down to the adrenal glands and telling the cortisol and the adrenaline that you don't have to provide so much. I wish I could tell you guys that it would make the cortisol and adrenaline not be produced at all, but that isn't the case. But it can lower the amount of adrenaline and cortisol that is getting produced in the body. Okay, and so now we're providing relief to our body at a cellular level because we're giving it more oxygen. We're providing more relief to the brain so that it can think more clearly, because the more oxygen the brain has and the calmer the brain can be, the better decision-making skills we can elicit out whenever we have to make quick or slow decisions. And then we're also telling the adrenal glands, you don't have to work so hard. I appreciate that you're there, and I appreciate what you're giving to my body so that I don't have a heart attack. But I am also so incredibly grateful that I'm not making you work so hard. Right? The other thing that we have to do is we have to make sure that we're getting adequate amounts of water. I know that a lot of us know this, but when the body gets dehydrated, we aren't able to make very good decisions. We're actually pretty sluggish, and we can go to that reactionary space. We also have to make sure we're getting enough sleep and we're eating foods that give us energy rather than take that energy away. This is a question I get asked quite frequently from my clients whenever I bring it up. What are energy producing foods? What does it mean when food takes away your energy? So I want you to think about this just for a moment, friends. Think about food that when you eat it, it actually gives your body energy. And I don't mean like caffeine-y energy and you're like bouncing off the walls, but when you eat it, you feel kind of light, like you're not bogged down. You're light and you feel a bit energized from it. And when you think about it, when you actually sit here and you gain some clarity and you think about it, like maybe that light, energized feeling allows you to have maybe 2 to 3 hours of energy before you need to eat again, or before you get too sleepy and you need to take a nap, or go towards that energy drink or that cup of coffee or whatever it is, right? So what that does is it provides your body the right energetic exchange so that you can be your best self. Now, if you're feeling well enough, you can start to incorporate exercise into your life. And what I've found for my own self is that exercise provides me with the right hormones to get me moving forward, right? And so what I mean by that is the hormones it produces are endorphins and serotonin in my brain. Just by moving my body. And what works best for me personally is running. I also love yoga. I also love strength training. I also love like lifting weights. I know that's part of strength training, but like lifting like bigger weights in a classroom with a teacher. I really actually like to be guided by somebody, but it's about finding the balance of what works well for you, right? But when I'm moving my body, and especially whenever I'm running, and I do it for a minimum of 20 minutes, although I run longer distances than that, but a minimum of 20 minutes. So if I needed a quick pick-me-up to get into peak state, or let's say I got really, really stressed out by something and I needed to get some quick energy and I needed to clear my mind, just a minimum of about 20 minutes of getting my heart rate up, allows my head to clear and the endorphins and the serotonin, the hormones in the brain, to be emitted so that I can start to think more clearly and make better decisions, right? Because our health is so important, because without it, what kind of decisions are we making? If you're feeling incredibly depleted right now, I want you guys to think about something for a moment. Are you moving your body regularly? Are you spending time in nature if that's what works for you? Are you meditating? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you drinking a lot of caffeine? I'm not saying that that's wrong, just it's about being honest with ourselves. And I want you to think about, are you eating food that actually gives you energy? Are you going through the drive-through 2 or 3 times a day? And do you actually feel really bogged down? And then after 20 to 30 minutes after you eat, are you feeling so bogged down that you've got to go get that next energy drink or that next coffee to keep you going? Or are you laying down and taking naps several times a day? Because that's a fluctuation in our blood sugar, and we want to make sure that our blood sugar is as balanced as it can possibly be, instead of riding this blood sugar roller coaster up and down, because that in time creates havoc too. It creates dis-ease. So what are we doing when we're stressed out? Are you actually taking the time to prioritize yourself as first? Are you focusing on yourself? Because in time, what happens, and I'm not saying that this happens right away, and especially when we're younger in our 20s and 30s, although some 20 and 30-year-old people will experience this, but usually it's, when we get into our mid to later 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, for some people, we start to notice changes in our body. And our body doesn't recover as fast as what it once was. Now, age can do that, but what will happen when we're experiencing stress over and over and over and over again is we're going to start to get ailments that maybe we don't like. And what that literally boils back to is all of the stress we allowed ourselves to focus our attention on. Because what we focus upon expands. So if what we're focused upon is everything going wrong in our life and all of the stressful experiences that we're walking through, that's going to expand. We're going to get more stress. We're going to get more pain. We're going to get less sleep. We're going to blame more. We're going to be more in that space of reaction rather than reflection. But if we shift and give ourselves 30 minutes every day, just 30 minutes every day, you can give yourself longer, some of you probably already do, right? But just 30 minutes every day for you, where you are connecting to nature, taking a walk, just looking at the trees, doing your best to clear your mind of the things going on. If you are making sure you get adequate amounts of water, if you are eating high vibe, energetic foods, if you are exercising or moving your body. I don't really like the word exercise, friends. It makes me feel like work, and I don't like working. Do you guys like to work? I don't like to work hard. I don't know, maybe you guys, some people really love to work hard. I don't love to work hard, right? But I love to, like work sounds like work, right? And I like my work to be fun, like this. This isn't work to me. This is fun to me, to be able to come and talk to you guys and share this information, right? So I call it movement. Moving my body, right? Getting those endorphins up, the serotonin level turned on, right? Because what we want to do is we want to keep that endocrine system in balance. And when we keep the endocrine system in balance, which is literally just another word for keeping our hormones in balance, then that means we're creating a space of inner peace within. Because we can, the hormones are going to become imbalanced when our emotions are out of whack, when we're literally thinking too much about all of our problems rather than focusing on the solutions. And then it also starts to, whenever we're too stressed out, affects our neurological system, right? The central nervous system, which connects to many body parts. And I really just like to focus upon the adrenal glands. But I mean, honestly, if you guys want to have a conversation about all the other parts of the body that it affects, private message me. I'm so happy to have these conversations with you, because it is really important that I share all of the information I have learned along my journey with all of you. That is really part of my heart, to be able to share this information with others, because I know that it changed my life. Because what I know is that I should not be here. I should not still be a part of this world because of the choices that I have made in my past when I used to be a completely different person than the person that I am today, being able to share the experience, strength, and hope with all of you. So, what I hope that you guys uncovered and discovered today is how important it is to focus on your health when it feels like everything is falling apart on you. Because what I know, friends, and I've had lots of conversations with a lot of different people recently around the stress of the laws and the amount of people who are ill right now with COVID-19. Here, just last week, here I live just outside of Chicago, although I am in Northwest Indiana. I'm just a hop, skip, and a jump from Chicago, and there were riots and looting there, and that has created some stress for a lot of people. And I've had conversations with people about that. It's affected some of my friends' jobs, and it's creating stress because they don't know how they're going to be bringing income into their family and be able to pay the bills and make sure that their families have food and all of those things, right? So I get it. There's a lot of stress going on in the world, along with all of the other things that you all may have going on. Some of you may already be experiencing immunocompromisation. That didn't come out of me very, very well, but I know you guys know what I meant, right? That some people are taking care of other family members because their other family members can't work right now. Some of you are moms or dads, your single family income, even though you are married, you have one income coming into the household right now, and you have kids that are going back to school and all the things that kids need to be able to go back to school, and the decisions that parents are having to face today, whether their kids go back to school in person or they're doing e-learning or online learning, right? There's so many things going on and so many choices and so many decisions that we all have to make that are best and right for us and our families. And I get it. So when it feels like everything is falling apart on you, friends, when it feels like there's not enough money, when our relationships are falling apart, when our career is no longer there, when we don't feel connected to our higher power anymore, because I don't know if you guys are anything like me, but whenever I'm experiencing stress and hardship and heartache, being connected to my higher power is not what I always remember first, although it should always be what I remember first. Because the truth is, I don't have control over my life. Right? I believe in a higher power, and some of you watching this video may not, and I totally get that. So if this doesn't resonate with you, leave it behind. It's no worries, right? But if we believe in something greater than ourselves, whatever that word is to us, then we have to trust that we are always taken care of. And I have to be reminded of that, because when I feel afraid, what I want to do is run to that perfectionist space where I believe that I have control and that I can fix everything. But the truth is that actually tears me apart and takes away all of my energy. So when we remember this, right? When we remember that all of these things are movable parts in our life's journey, right? And that life is a circle of, like, it's about our health. It's and a piece of the pie of that circle is about relationships, and it's about career, and it's about money, and it's about our connection to something greater, and that all we're trying to do is create some semblance of balance in our life so that we feel like we can move forward. Focusing on our health is going to be an incredible asset to our journey when it feels like everything is falling apart. So if you found value in this video today, friends, what I would love for you to do is share this video out to your audience, because like I said, I know that there are a lot of people suffering out in the world, and my heart's truest and biggest desire is to share small nuggets of wisdom that I have learned on this journey with other people. My heart just really, truly wants to share my experience, strength, and hope with others. I also would encourage you to like and follow the Bill and Callie Show page. They are amazing people servicing Northwest Indiana and beyond, making sure that incredible human beings who have incredible messages get heard and seen, and they share information, valuable information with people every day. I love and adore Bill and Callie, and I cannot speak more highly of them. So please make sure you're liking and following their page. And if you like this information, please Go ahead and like and follow my business page, Connections Restored. If you would like to continue this conversation, reach out to me personally through private message. I would love to continue this conversation with you and give you the information that you're seeking around how to connect to your health in a way that works right for you. Because if there's anything that I've learned on this journey as well, friends, it's that there's no one cookie cutter approach, one size fits all approach that's going to work for all of us. And although running works really well for me, boxing or taekwondo might work really well for you, and that sounds like a lot of fun. So if you decide to do boxing or taekwondo and you're in my area, tell me about it, because maybe I want to do it too, because I do like variety. Do you guys like variety as well? I know that I personally like it. So thank you so much, friends, for your time today. I know that time is a very valuable gift, and I don't take these things lightly. Thank you for the gift of your time. I love you all so much, and I cannot wait to share episode 22 next week with all of you of Connections Restored TV, an affiliate of the Bill and Callie Show Network. Again, my name is Amy Boswinkle from Northwest Indiana. I am an intuitive and a women's energetic mindset, marketing, and strategy business coach. I love you all so much. I hope you have an amazing day. Take care. Mwah.
This episode of The Bill and Callie Show is brought to you by Sip Coffee House 2 in Highland, Indiana on Jewett Avenue. Great coffee, lattes, smoothies, and more. Food and treats you will adore. Small town charm with big city selection. It's Sip Coffee House 2. If it's breakfast, brunch, or lunch you need, Les Cafe is the place to go, indeed. Open 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. 7 days a week. Les Cafe Pancake House, located in Highland, Indiana on Highway Avenue. Les Cafe, where less is more. Promise You Art House, a fun and vibrant place for local artisans to display and sell their creative works, owned and operated by artists for artists. Conveniently located at 8830 Kennedy Avenue in Highland, Indiana. For hours and events, visit pyarthouse.com or follow them on Facebook. Promise You Art House, where creativity reigns.